You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app. And I continue to be of the opinion that the movies coming out this particular summer season are doing wonders for movie theaters. They are staying in theaters longer. Part of the reason is because they are performing better. You have a movie like F1, which is not necessarily overperforming, but doing very well. It added 71 theaters this past week.
They're talking about a sequel to F1.
The way they set it up, and we've talked about it, I don't want to give any spoilers, but the way they set it up, let me just say it like this. They passed the baton in the movie, and they basically showed you that there was more story they could tell if they want to.
In F2.
It's better than an FU.
F1.
Coming in at number one this week, speaking of one, is Jurassic World Rebirth. If you didn't hear my conversation with both Mark and Mark, as in Mark Thompson and Mark Runner, Jurassic World Rebirth did $322 million across the fullness of the 4th of July weekend. That is amazing. 147 million domestically and 175 million or so internationally, which is pretty well balanced, but you can see how the international community, was it you who made the point, Mark, about the universality of dinosaurs?
No, I think it was Thompson, but it is the universal language, people getting eaten by dinosaurs.
It's what they call high concept, real simple to understand, everyone gets it. Dangerous dinosaurs, people, overconfident humans go in, only a few walk out alive.
Now, do you plan on seeing this? Because I saw the first batch of them, then one of the Chris Pratt movies, and I thought, okay, time to cut your losses. It's the same thing over and over.
I'm a hypocrite. I will say that the same thing happens over and over, but I still will watch it. My level of expectations will vary greatly. I don't have any expectations for it, but I watch Jurassic Park movies. Like Tawala will say, he's going to watch all the Marvel movies, even the ones that are Sony produced. You don't have high expectations for them, but you'll still see them. True. I'll still see it.
Yeah. Like this is when it comes to streaming, I don't need to rush out and see this on IMAX and pay theater money. No, when it comes to streaming, cool. I will say this though, and this is very good for Scarlett Johansson because this is a big movie where she is the lead, and I am happy that she is getting some shine.
And it's not Marvel. It's a huge movie, and there was a question, and well, I guess there maybe is still a question whether she can be the star by herself. It's still somewhat an ensemble cast. I mean, you have like Mahershala Ali, who's an Academy Award winner, so there are other folks that surrounding her, but I'm happy for her and proud of her.
Well, I had read earlier in the day that she is now the most profitable female actress in history because of all the big hits she's been in.
Yep. That makes sense if you think about it. Just her Marvel resume, all those movies. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think she can open a movie.
Well, the question has always been not opening a movie, but whether she can carry a movie. When she did the movie like Lucy, didn't do well.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive.
I know her Black Widow movie didn't exactly set the world on fire.
But Black Widow, there's a caveat. Yes. Remember, that came out during COVID.
No,
and
that's
it
true.
only got a week in theaters.
Yeah.
So that was very unfair because Black Widow is still one of the best Marvel produced movies. I mean, it's solid through and through. Had that come out in theaters, I think it definitely would have performed.
Oh, I didn't know you thought that. I thought it was just kind of okay.
No, I like that.
All right.
I thought it was better than okay, but not great. I thought it was better than Thunderbolts.
Oh, hard disagree on that.
Wow.
You're saying Thunderbolts was better than Black Widow?
Much.
Hard disagree?
Much.
You're losing your touch, okay?
You think so?
Whoa, man. Whoa.
I like it when we get to the point of disagreement where one of us has to be insane.
Yeah,
yes.
We're there. We are there.
He's standing outside the door. Just walk on through.
Okay.
Jurassic World Rebirth, number one this week. F1, the movie, number two, we mentioned. It's now at 294 million. So as good as F1 has done so far, it's still 39 million or so behind Jurassic World Rebirth after only 1 week. So that'll tell you just how well Jurassic World Rebirth is performing. How to Train Your Dragon is still doing well in its fourth week, came in third with another 11 million domestically. It's over $500 million now. I don't think people were realistically expecting that to do $500 million.
Yeah.
Elio is number 4 this week with 5.7 million for overall tepid amount of 97 million. There are a lot of movies would love to break 100 million, but not a Pixar movie. That's seen as a major disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark, have you gotten a chance to see Megan 2.0 yet?
No. But no, I haven't. But a lot of my fellow horror nerds have recommended it solely by virtue of just how bat crap crazy it is reported to get. I can't speak English tonight. It's reported to get at the end. If that makes sense to you after 3 stabs at that sentence.
Yeah, but going back to the whole idea of horror movies, Megan 2.0, its budget was between 15 and 25 million, and even though it has been a disappointment, air quotes, given the box office, it still crossed 31 million. And it will stay in theaters long enough still to turn a profit, which goes back to the point, even a bad or a badly received horror movie is likely going to make money.
So we're going to get a 3.0?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
See, kind of like to Wall's point about Jurassic Park, I caught that one on streaming, and that's definitely where I'm waiting for that one to come out, because it's not like you got to see all the, the special effects and everything. And it was fun. It was okay. The first one.
But they're like 8 movies.
No, Megan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Jurassic Park.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the first one, the Megan was it was fun. It was a good movie. So it's like, yeah, I'll just wait till it comes on streaming.
Those both seem like the kind of movies where you look at the trailer and you think there can't possibly be anything else. But I'm hearing some pretty enthusiastic stuff about 2.
Okay, we'll find out. Lilo and Stitch came in 7th this week with 3.8 million. It is 974 million, has an outside shot at $1 billion. Maybe the Disney will chip in the last 26 million and buy the tickets, which is not unheard of, from being serious.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible Final Reckoning in 8th spot. It is now 576 million worldwide. And Materialists, and it's in its 4th week, that's A24. They're very good at small budget movies, has grossed 45 million. And I know its budget was not 45 million, so it's turning a profit. And that's about it. Ballerina, it's in its 5th week. It fell out of the top 10. And I wonder, with 108 million, is that a success?
I don't know what the budget is.
Let's look it up real quick.
Yeah, not for the John Wick.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I don't remember seeing a lot of marketing for that. Like, I just knew it because of you guys talking about it so much because you're John Wick fans.
The budget is 80 to 90 million. So that doesn't say to me that the John Wick universe is solid. People like John Wick, and, Keanu Reeves was in the movie. I haven't seen it, but he was also in the movie, and that was not enough for it to turn it into anything.
Well, because when you see Keanu in the trailer, it almost looks as if it's a glorified cameo. It doesn't look as if he's co-starring or has a major role. It looks like she's done all this thing. She, being the ballerina, has done all this stuff. And then at some point or another, for some reason we don't understand, Keanu Reeves shows up and we're all like, but isn't he dead? So it's weird. It did that him in the trailer didn't play well.
Well, it's more than a cameo, but less than a co-starring role.
But it is between 3 and 4, isn't it? Timeline?
Yes. So he's not dead yet. He hasn't been resurrected at the time of Ballerina. I could do without a sequel to it. I didn't think Ana de Armas really oozed charisma as an unstoppable killing machine.
I've never bought her and her action scenes, even in James Bond. I just didn't buy it. And it's not her as an actress. I think it's her slight build. And sometimes things can be a little too choreographed.
No, this is choreographed at the yin yang, and she does fine in the choreographed action. And they throw her through a lot of balsa wood walls and furniture, but it just I don't know. And it's beautifully photographed. The sets are cool, but she just doesn't have the riz to be like a female James Bond or female John Wick.
We were talking about this on the chat, where there are some actors and actresses that you can tell they're really pushing to become stars, and I'm not sure whether they are stars.
And man, like that guy that's going to be in the Total Recall.
Glenn Powell?
Yes. They keep trying with this guy.
I don't know. Glenn Powell, to me, I like him, but not as the star. I like him in the cast.
Yes,
and
he's a fine actor as part of the team, but they did the Tornado remake with him.
Twisters.
They did the Top Gun redo with him. Now they're doing the Total Recall, and none of these. Well, okay, I'm a diehard fan of Maverick, but still not him.
Well, maybe the ladies like him.
No, that's part of it.
No, yeah,
that's part of it. They're
do the ladies like him?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're looking for the next, at least in a look sense, next superstar.
Carnisha, look this guy because you're the only lady.
I just
in here.
did.
Are you looking for this guy on the screen?
I wouldn't be checking for him. He's handsome, but it's not something I would not run to the movies to go see him.
It's like,
that's my point.
But see, the thing is, it's not necessarily about the sex appeal because it wasn't Arnold and Sex Appeal talk about original Total Recall. It wasn't even Tom Cruise in original Sex Appeal, I don't think. I think Glenn Powell is passable enough, and they're trying to turn him into this worldwide star. I don't have anything against him. I think I've seen everything that he's been in, but I don't know if he moves the needle.
Yeah.
For a movie like Twist, and also everything he's done for the most part has been a remake, reboot, or a sequel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if he can start a franchise.
Yes.
By
Can he
himself.
do anything on his own?
Yeah.
No, he cannot.
Well, he's going to have a chance. Well, that's beside the point because no one should be remaking Total Recall a second time inside of 20 years. No. 30 years from the original, but still.
No, I'm sorry. Not Total. He's doing Running Man.
Running Man.
Oh,
yeah.
He's doing
same thing.
Same thing. And the problem is I don't know why they're calling it Running Man. When you watch the trailer, we're like, what does this have to do with the original movie?
The original was more like a on-set game show with elements outside the set. If they could bring back Richard Dawson, that would be cool.
This one, he's just running around the city.
And I saw the trailer. It looks like The Purge.
Yeah.
Some other version of The Purge because everyone's trying to kill him in broad daylight. It's like, that doesn't make sense. And the trailer was too damn long. They showed too much of the movie. Yeah. I kind of know how the whole movie goes now.
Yeah, some of these trailers are like almost 4 minutes long.
And that was the first trailer.
I know.
You expect to get a second and third before the movie comes out. That's not usually a good sign. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, speaking of remakes, reboots, sequels, did you know that they're doing a sequelized television series to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Hells no.
I emailed myself that item just to bring it up with you.
Hells no. That's next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and social media. I remember when my father introduced me to the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And, of course, I could not understand all of it when it came out in 1975. But my father was known to introduce me to stuff I shouldn't be watching at that age. I appreciated it a lot more as I got older and the complexity of the different mental states of the people in that insane asylum. And it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Obviously, great performance by Jack Nicholson. If you think about the other people who are in the movie who are stars today or were stars before they passed, Scatman Crothers, Danny DeVito. There's so many people. Louise Fletcher, who played Nurse Ratched. It's just a great, great, great movie. It's set in 1963. The movie was released in November of 1975. It will be 50 years old this year. And this is part of the reason why probably someone's trying to do One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest spin-off series. The original source material in which the movie is loosely based is told from the perspective of Chief Bromden, one of the characters in the movie. The movie doesn't tell the story from Chief Bromden's perspective. This subsequent series is supposed to be in alignment with the original source material and tell this story, which is a look ahead of years from Chief Bromden's vantage point. The only problem is, I should say one of the many problems is, I don't want this. I want no parts of it. And it would tell the story what happens to Chief Bromden and maybe some of the others after they get out of the insane asylum, after they escaped. That is not interesting to me because, well, let me put it this way. The way, if you want to advance a story, especially when we're talking about a legendary piece like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I would more listen to you if you had some of the original cast. If you got Danny DeVito, Jack Nicholson, maybe a couple other people, I'll hear you out. But you don't. It's almost like if you took Cobra Kai, which picked up the Karate Kid story some 40 years later, but without the original actors, it doesn't have the same type of appeal. I mean, because if you're going to sit me down for something that's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I need to feel like this.
Cheswick, you're voluntary? Mm-hmm. Scanlon? Billy, for Christ's sakes, you must be committed, right? No. I mean, you're just a young kid. What are you doing here? You ought to be out in a convertible. Bird dogging chicks and beaver. What are you doing here, for Christ's sake? What's so funny about that? Well, Jesus. I mean, you guys do nothing but complain about how you can't stand it in this place here, and then you haven't got the guts just to walk out? I mean, what do you think you are, for Christ's sake? Crazy or something? Mm-hmm. Well, you're not. You're not. You're no crazier than the average all out walking around on the streets, and that's it.
I would like to see a story where the remaining living characters maybe met up for lunch at Starbucks or something. That would interest me. David Caruso was in it, I remember. If you just get some of them to Christopher Lloyd, I'm just looking at the IMDb. There are people who are still alive, and I would much rather see that story and reunion show, if you will, than some spinoff which is really not connected to anything.
Brad Dourif's still alive, isn't he? And
that's true. Yep.
I can't remember if he lives or dies in the movie, but the novel by Ken Kesey is terrific, and it's told from the point of view of the Big Chief. And I mean, we're spoiling a 50-year-old movie. I have said that I think the person who pitched this idea for a series should have a pillow put over his face.
It's cheap. It's uncreative. And Twala, you said it best. It's just, Hollywood is devoid of any new ideas. They've officially run out.
They're creatively bankrupt. They're done. But
it was one of the great moments in film history when McMurphy offers the chief a stick of gum. And the chief says, juicy fruit.
You can't recreate those types of moments because you're telling a story which doesn't include any of those characters. And they're out of the insane asylum. So what story really is there to tell other than what Chief has been up to for the past 50 years?
Well, the thing is, who was asking for this? I know nobody. I've never once heard of a single person in the area of literature or film or television say, I wish there was more of that.
According to this, one of the producers of this Cuckoo's Nest sequel series is a nephew of one of the original producers.
Oh, well, that says a lot.
Uncle, I'm breaking into Hollywood. Do you still have the rights to that thing you did? I know it was really cool. I know you and my dad used to talk about it all the time.
I thought Kirk Douglas was one of the original producers.
Well, there's
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
There's sort of multiple producers. Yeah.
That's why I said it's some line producer whose nephew's trying to break into Hollywood, has secured or weaseled the rights to do this, and went to some network and said, "Hey, I just got the rights. I got an idea."
Carnation brought up a good point. She was saying, like, why would you want to remake or touch this, pristine piece? And I try to say we don't advocate remaking classics or cult classics or trying to borrow from the legacy, as this is in this instance, of a classic. Because the people who would care about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest are, for the most part, 40 and older. That's 10 years after the movie was released. So you're not speaking to our generation with this show. You're hoping that the younger generation watches this show because they would watch in greater numbers. But the only people who would have any reference point are the older folks. And so you're just trading on the name, not actually giving us something which would be a continuation or a realistic reason to watch.
I haven't seen the movie in quite some time, but I imagine it holds up pretty well because I do keep running across clips as well as clips of Nicholson's Oscar acceptance, which I think he did from the movie set. People love this movie, and it's such a bad idea to do what are they going to follow Chief after he busts out of the asylum and he's on the run?
Right. And I don't know what time period is. I don't know if it's in the days after or the years after, or there's a great time leap, but presumably they don't all meet up. They all go in their separate ways.
Can they put some dinosaurs in it?
And
it might be better received.
Yeah. And the whole Nephew thing makes sense, but they also made that Ratchet show, and that I remember I didn't hear any good things about it.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
I remember that because I was like, my ex was super excited, and she's like, this sucks.
Because you can't recapture that magic.
Yeah.
It's impossible because, one, it's an ensemble piece. You have some legendary talent together, and you have none of that or the circumstances which brought them together to forward the story.
And just one final point to make before I know we have to go to a break. This story came out of the period where people were asserting their individuality. The story was written in the early 60s and came out in the mid 70s. This is after the Patrick McGoohan Prisoners show and the hippie movement and everything. It was very much a thing of its time about a guy who refused to have his will broken by the system. Nobody cares about that now. We would eagerly have our wills broken now for a house or some cash.
And also our view and idea of mental health and treatment is completely different.
That's a great
yeah,
point.
you can't go around calling people crazy anymore.
No, you can't. No, I'm just saying, is it supposed to take place back in 1976? Is it a period piece? Or are you trying to adapt it for today's world and today's audiences? I just think it's a bad idea all the way around.
We got a Code Brown on our hands here.
KFI AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly. We got to talk about the bees in France when we come back.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Later with Mo Kelly. I can confidently tell you that if we ever talk about bees on this show, it's because Tawala Sharp put the story in the stack. I have, to my knowledge, never put a bee story on this show. And I have to reset it to let people know I have an unhealthy fear of bees. It is a phobia. It is irrational. It is illogical, but it's real. And, if you should happen to be around me when there's a bee, the only thing that matters is I get away. Even if that should mean that you may die in the process. Bees have attacked a French town. 24 people injured, some in critical condition. Passers-by were stung over a period of about 30 minutes yesterday morning. Firefighters and medical teams were rushed to the scene to treat the victims, while police set up a security perimeter until the bees stopped their attack. Be clear, the bees attacked unprovoked by humans. If you read deeper into the story, there's a question of whether Asian hornets, the meat-eating, super-sized hornets, were thought to have been attacking the bee colony. So if the bee colony didn't get the people, the Asian hornets would have.
Okay, but see, I think you need a retraction that the bees were not necessarily attacking as much as they may have been fleeing certain death. Maybe the bees, like you, feel about Asian murder hornets the way you feel about bees. And they're like, you know what? If you are around when an Asian murder hornet comes around, everyone around is going to die. And that's what the bees were thinking as they were fleeing into a crowd of people.
They don't need to sting to flee. They can just fly away. They buzz away.
They're bumping into people. People are swatting, and the bees are confused. They're like, we're trying to get away. Why are you swatting at us? And that's how people were stung.
It doesn't make me feel any better. I still am of the opinion, kill them all. Kill the Asian murder hornets, kill the European honeybees, kill the Africanized bees, kill them all.
Officially moving
Kill 'em
forward.
all.
No, let's just call them
Kill the
murder
bees.
hornets. No, we just got to call them murder
But
hornets.
that's very specific. The Asian murder hornets are like 5 times the size of a typical
Then
bee.
we can call them giant murder hornets.
We have
I don't know if
pictures
they
of them
I
right
don't-
now.
I don't know if they
we have
have
pictures
to be,
on the YouTube channel. They are ungodly leviathans.
I don't know if they have to be racially identified.
That's why I said it was racist. I mean, why do you got to name them Asian?
That's why
murder hornets?
let's just call them, for us, let's just call them giant murder hornets. There's no need
They
to call
eat
them
meat too.
They do. They will eat a person, not just, they'll eat a
It's
rat
bad
or
enough
something.
they can take out a whole hive.
Yeah,
a few of them.
in just one of them can take out a hive. Now, again, a murder hornet obviously happened upon a tasty beehive, some bees making some delicious honey, minding their own business. Bees being bees, they weren't bothering anybody.
They were minding their own beeswax.
Introduce murder hornet, and then you've got bees going crazy, bees losing their mind trying to get away.
But it doesn't make it any more justifiable, okay? Just because you flee in your car and you accidentally run someone down, it doesn't make you less liable.
It may not.
If you just kill them all, we won't have to worry about this stuff.
You cannot, because then, Mo, you want to kill them all, then what are the murder hornets eating? They're eating us.
No, I mean all, as in inclusive of the murder hornets.
You can't just kill
the wasps, kill the murder hornets, kill the bees, kill the bumblebees, the carpenter bees.
Murder hornets and killer bees are twice as cunning as just regular honeybees. Why? Because they're out for meat.
Do they have stingers?
They probably have teeth. Damn, murder
I'm
hornets.
saying if they have stingers, they have to die.
Oh, I don't know if they have stingers. I think that these murder hornets, I think they've got actual just teeth.
No,
like
they have
little
mandibles
that can just
and
chew
they have
you
stingers.
up.
They have stingers and mandibles.
They probably do like spit an acid onto you as they're dissolving.
Probably. If we just kill them all, we won't have to worry about this.
These things
Don't
are
you
about
dare,
the-
Stefan.
these
I know
things are
you're trying to
about
find
the-
some
they're-
sound
they're
effect
about
or
the
something.
width of your
Don't you
hand.
dare.
They're like
I've seen them.
hand-sized.
I know.
Yeah.
I know there's stuff of nightmares. If it's not that, it's me defecating in the middle of a mall.
I mean, look at this
I
guy.
can't even look at this thing on YouTube.
No, look at
Daniel,
it.
no.
Look at
I'm
it.
looking away. I'm looking away.
Like, oh my goodness.
They're huge.
Humongous.
Thumb-sized.
Wow. And these things probably haven't been fed a lot. These ones that were.
We need to
shown
hurry
on
to
the
get to the
YouTube
next
channel.
segment because I can't do this. And when we talk to George Norrie, Coast to Coast AM, I have to find out if he can recommend someone to interpret my dreams. Got to get to the bottom of some of these dreams I'm having.
That would actually be really cool.
It'd be a nice little crossover segment.
Yeah, right?
KFI AM 640. And also I'll have my final thought, and it has to do with Elon Musk announcing his new political party.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly, and coming up will be Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie, who joins me. George, good evening. How was your holiday weekend?
Holiday weekend was working, but I had a great time.
You and me both. We were both working. But speaking of working, before we get to your show, I've had these recurring dreams, and I don't know if you can recommend someone who would come on the air with me and interpret some of these recurring dreams, which are somewhat disturbing.
We'll work on that for you. I had one person, but she passed away a few years ago. She was the best.
Now, do you use that person from the other side?
Sometimes.
Okay. What's on the show tonight?
Tonight we're going to talk about how gravity shapes your body. It's an amazing story. Then later on in the show, angels on Coast to Coast.
Well, there you have it. I'll be tuning in. Thank you, my friend.
We'll work on the dream lady for you.
Oh, it's going to be a lady, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay.
Before we get out of here, here is my final thought. And you've probably heard the news now that Elon Musk, he's announced that he's creating a new political party and has named it the America Party. Kind of catchy. We know that Musk wasn't pleased with President Trump's spending bill, which was just signed into law over the weekend. And Musk and Trump, you know this as well, had a very public and messy breakup. If this feels like the political equivalent to a jilted lover on the rebound, well, you're not wrong. Fellow billionaire Mark Cuban is also rumored to be involved. It's no secret that there is high disapproval of the present state of partisan politics, except for the MAGA faithful. They love everything that President Trump does. But there has been long talk of this so-called third party option to shake up the proverbial establishment. And this long-standing lie keeps getting recycled every few years. We've always had, or just about always had, a third party or fourth party option for decades, literal decades, from Libertarian to the Green Party to the Reform Party to the American Independent Party, the Forward Party, the No Labels Party more recently, Constitution Party. Those are all real parties and presently active parties. There have always been other options. The chief reason why none of them ever make a ripple is because they don't have adequate infrastructure or presence on local levels. They're not even trying. They trot out people like Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, Cornel West every 4 years just for the office of president and basically nothing else. There's no grassroots presence, largely no local elected officials or even candidates, little electoral impact. Yes, Elon Musk can throw money at candidates. Yes, he can find some slightly less than MAGA primary opposition to help unseat Trump favorites and or back Democrats in the midterms. Yes, he can do all of those things. But here's the reality. Musk is still juggling the fortunes of SpaceX. He's still the president and CEO of Tesla and even X, his social media platform. What does that tell you? He gets bored really easily and likely has no long-term interest in politics. If you're going to start a party, you have to actually build it up. Now, you can trot out some candidates, run them for president, like, Jill Stein, Cornel West, whomever, every 4 years, but that's not an actual party. You're just backing a candidate. Elon Musk gets bored very easily. How do we know? Well, look at Doge. That didn't last long. And it wasn't because he and Trump had a falling out per se. It's because Elon Musk wanted to move on to other things. He could, as in Elon Musk, he could have impact on an election or two, maybe disrupt the power balance of the House of Representatives. But the American Party, as it's, named, will just be the latest failed attempt at starting a new political party. And that's what people need to tell you. And there's something else they won't tell you. The reason why these other third, fourth, and fifth options always fail, and they always will fail, is because a party with no representation in Congress and no representation in state houses mean that no policy can be made or passed on any level. It's just an opposition individual. It's not about just having a third name on a ballot in which to choose. And yes, you might be able to get signatures to get on a presidential ballot in all 50 states. And let's say hypothetically that person shocks the world and becomes president. But against the Democratic caucus and Republican conference in both the House and Senate, it would mean more legislative gridlock. It's a pipe dream and another way to separate you from your money because they're still going to be asking for your money. We all hate the two-party system. Trust me, we all hate it. That's why I'm an independent. But nobody wants to put in the work for the long term. You have to build up a party. How do I know? There are recent examples that we can look to. These are the same reasons that Bernie Sanders had to become a Democrat. I said become a Democrat. He's a registered independent and he caucuses with the Democrats. But he had to become a Democrat to run for president. And Donald Trump, let's not forget, he had to leave the Reform Party and join the Republican Party to seriously make a bid for the White House. Remember the Reform Party? I do. That is what you got to do to get internal polling data and voter rolls, insider information, which a new party would be done without it. And this America Party would be starting from scratch. No access to televised debates, most likely as neither party would agree to a third party participant joining on stage. That's why you don't see people like Ralph Nader, John Anderson, remember him? Gary Johnson, etc., joining the debates. Ross Perot, he was the last one to actually be part of those debates. And then the parties wisened up and said, nope, you will not be joining us anymore. The major parties don't want fringe candidates sharing the stage, and that's what we're talking about. This would be a fringe candidate on behalf of a billionaire who really doesn't have any knowledge, expertise, or interest, big picture, in actually starting, forming, supporting a political party. The American Party, as it's called, is not going anywhere. There was never any chance for it. And despite what you may hear in the news, it's not going anywhere. And maybe I'm the first one to tell you this, but I am the one who needs to tell you this. And anyone who tells you otherwise about the American Party is lying. But then again, we're used to politicians lying to us, aren't we? For KFI AM 640, I'm Mo Kelly.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.